So I've got a Flickr UL20 here. This has become my favorite 20-degree sleeping bag quilt thing that I've used. And I did a video a while ago sort of trying to find the best one, and I ended up getting this thing and wrote a review on this for Iron Far. No, kitty cat, down, no. And so I won't go into absolutely everything in this video. I'll just link to that I Run Far article because I think it covers everything pretty well and why I like it so much. But there's one thing I mention in that review that bothered me about the quilt, and I've remedied that. And then I also have just sort of a modification that I think makes this, or I guess two modifications that make this quilt even more usable. And the one thing that sort of bothered me about this is that let's see if you can see these little cord locks. They don't hold very well. See, without even pressing down on the top, they slide. And so I've added this more substantial kind of cord lock. You can buy these anywhere. And as you can see, they don't want to slide at all because these other ones, this opening just seems to pop open. I could even probably demonstrate. So I have the stock cord locks in there. You can just open this thing. So let's crank it down with the better ones. Well, see, the snap popped instead because it's holding so well. And I'll probably just cut these off, the old ones. Probably have to snap them off with some pliers or something, and just leave on these new ones. I don't need two sets on here. Anyway, the snap popping off brings me to the other thing. I find these little snaps to not hold super well. They're okay for the most part, but one thing I've come up with to solve that problem is just inside the draft collar there are these little loops right at the top of the zipper, and so I just tied on a piece of shock cord to one of them and put another cord lock on the other, and you can just sort of cinch it in at the top of the zipper, and that's going to hold for the most part that area in there. And so I'm pretty happy about that idea, because also you could have it partly unzipped and have it just sort of hold it together where you want it. Like, I'll probably end up using it around there somewhere a lot of the time, and just sort of flop this around my head. Okay, and then the other thing that I've noticed about this quilt, and I wouldn't call this a flaw at all, but just I use it really often mostly unzipped with the footbox zipped up part way. But what I find, and what I'm saying is I have the zipper underneath me, so I'm just using it like a quilt. But what I find is throughout the night, there's sort of, the zipper tends to kind of creep a little bit towards the end. Fortunately, they've sewn these loops in a few places. There's one, let's see, that's what, maybe 1.5 feet from the bottom or something like that. And then there's another one, let's see, like 1.5 feet from the top or something like that. So utilizing cord locks once again, I just put one of these on the zipper on the inside, and you can just zip up to, imagining the temperatures are not super cold and you're just wanting to use it In quilt mode, you can just take the cord lock and feed it through one of those loops and cinch it up, and then that zipper can't go down, and so you're going to keep that footbox area nice and toasty. And so I run the quilt like this, with this through the cord lock through that loop and the zipper underneath me to about like 35 degrees or something, and find it to be completely good to go at those temps. And then if it starts to get below freezing, I'll undo this cord lock, maybe zip it up to the next one, put the cord lock through there, or just zip it up all the way. Anyway, this is an amazing sleeping bag, quilt, both, and go check out my article on it so that you can understand why I like it so much. And despite the fact that I had to do some modifications, I still think that this is probably the best 20-degree quilt sleeping bag out there, because I mean, those are super easy modifications to do, don't cost really very much money, and they give you some versatility. So I hope that helps.